Welcome back to another tutorial for the Cold Dark Start tutorial with ground power and systems check. We aren't going to do any flying today. That shouldn't have happened. I'm just going to... This aircraft has a notoriety of it. Just press the Q, which will mute the sound. And yeah. So yeah, we're going to do a Cold Dark Start tutorial with the ground power today. And we are also going to do a systems check. There will be no flying, so if you're not looking for anything with the systems, don't watch this and wait for some flying and dropping bombs at a later tutorial. But today will be a ground power start with a extensive overview of the ship systems that are in front of us and a few other things. Most stuff will happen in the air, so this will be a two-part tutorial for your systems and all of that. So first off, we're going to quickly skim over the aircraft, making sure that everything is in the off and normal position. So we're going to go through. We've set all our radios, yes. The engine is off, the APU is off, and that is pulled out. That is closed and pulled out. The fuel dump is off. Everything here is on normal. Your external tanks and your probe is in retract position. The throttles are off. Your interwing is on normal, and your external lights are on. Formation lights can stay off unless you're in formation. You can turn them on if you wish. Everything else is on the normal. Your ground power, which we'll be using in a minute, is on auto, and your landing lights are off. Anti-skid is on. You can have that off if you wish, because we're not going anywhere. Making sure your canopy jettison is forward and your emergency jettison push to jet is pulled out, and that is on safe. That's for your jettison of your that is in relation to these things, so make sure they're all pushed out, not pushed in like that. You can tell the difference. Make sure they're all out. You might have come back from dropping a bomb and you've just pressed those two to get rid of your last ones. Okay, and then we work on and make sure they're all off, making sure that everything here is still set the way you set it, or if it is off, coming down to make sure our jammer and all of that are off, and looking down further, making sure that is on normal, or adjust the pedals, bring left and forward, so you can do that. I'm a tall person, so I have the pedals all the way out, making sure the spin is on normal and guarded. Probably have to come down a bit to get the guard. Where is it? There it is. And making sure that is on normal. Okay. Making sure that everything is set. You can reset the altitude indicator for what you want. I just press V and it will set it automatically. But for more realistic, you listen to the ATC and you'll set it there. But for quick measure, just press B. So push to cage, so it is now caged, and pull to uncage. So you can have those turned on or off, whatever. Making sure the hydraulic pressure is in the 0 position at the moment. Wings are on fold. They should be from when you set when you shut down the aircraft, and your hook is up, unless it is down when you're on a carrier. So make sure it's up. All your power is off, making sure that there's no power to the aircraft at all, and it is the reset button is pushed out. Air conditioner to your heart's content, and your APU bleed and engine bleed are off. Lights to your like I said again, lights to your heart's extent. You can have all of those, and your fuel. That's for, like I said, giving fuel to other people. If you're running a field jet, you can give people through the drogue, and making sure that is all off. We'll turn that on today. Alright, so that's basically it. We're going to run through the fire test again.
Engine fire, left. Engine fire, left. Engine fire, right. Engine fire, right. APU fire. APU fire. Lead air, left. Lead air, left. Lead air, right. Lead air, right. Engine fire, left. Engine fire, left. Engine fire, right. Engine fire, right. APU fire. APU fire. Lead air, left. Lead air, left. Lead air, right. Lead air, right.
Alright, so we can literally, from here, we don't have to turn any like generators on or anything, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to ground. So we're going to reset it. Done. Okay. You can turn the battery off now, if you wanted to. So we've reset the ground power. So ground power is now on. So we're going to turn everything on to B. So the aircraft is now completely on.
Flight controls. Flight controls.
We'll turn that on so it doesn't
Flight
annoy
controls.
us.
Flight controls.
Alright, so basically ground power is ready to go. So we can turn on the APU now. So the battery is completely
Flight
off.
controls. Flight controls.
Pull that on. Turn the APU on. Wait for that to pop. It's popped. We can turn the engine on now. Once the engine's turned on, then we can turn the power off. Oh, whoops, my bad. I forgot something there.
Flight controls.
That's my
Flight
bad.
controls.
Yeah, okay, so when you go to start it, you do need the battery turned on.
Flight controls.
Okay, so we'll
Flight
start it back up
controls.
again.
Flight controls. Flight controls.
I'll probably cut that out. Alright, so after the cut, we are ready to start the aircraft. So we'll turn on our generator and we'll turn on our battery, making sure that we got power. We'll turn on our engine. Make it a little bit more quieter in here. And we can turn them off. Alright, so ground power turns off automatically. We turn ground power off. APU is still on, but that's okay. It'll turn itself off eventually. We can turn it off anyways. Okay, so welcome to the aircraft. So we're going to turn on the DDIs now. Keep them there. And get rid of all of these. So making sure that's set. Doing our test to make sure our lights are all good. And all of that. Brilliant jazz. So FCS, make sure that that light goes off. That light will go off eventually. Okay. Yep, it's off. So there'll be two FCS. There'll be one up here and there'll be one down here. Okay, so now we're going to get into our DDIs. Both of them are the exact same. So TAC is tactical, and SUPT is for every other system. So your system, I put something, I think, system, all your systems on your jet, basically. I'll have to remember that, I'll have to figure it out. But yeah, that's for tactical, and that's for everything else on the aircraft. Okay, so we're going to start in tactical, because we've both got the tactical screens here. First off is your stores, and your radar. Radar's obviously turned off, and we've got nothing on the aircraft. When you put something on the aircraft, it will show up in here. The gun is loaded with 412 rounds. So it's on, manual, or CCPI, IP, sorry, and UFC. So you can put it in here, weapons at 40 feet or whatever. So you can have it high or low speed of the gun. So it's pretty good, and it's on safe because we haven't armed it. Okay. So that's the radar. You can change it to ground or sea, and then you have your HUD. Whatever side you choose it on, that's where it is. Okay. This is a little bit more advanced, so we'll get further into this at a later date. So that is another one, and this is another one as well, that's in correlation to that. So you can find missiles out and about. So if you don't want to use that and you want to use a bigger one, you know there's an enemy jet around. Awesome. Okay, so what we used last time, checklist up the top right. So you got your checklist, controls, flaps, and all that sort of stuff. How much fuel you got on board. Your CG, PCT, it's how long you got. What fuel you're using, and your max. Your NZ max there. You can check your engine out, go through the whole entire list, and you can also do fuel as well. Okay. There's another way to find fuel. It's down there. Does the same thing, or you just use this one down here. So much easier. FPAS will tell you how heavy you are, your range, and your endurance. Your endurance is how long you can last for. So it should be 14 hours and 19 minutes just sitting here at idle. Your best speed, we can go 0.51 at your range. If you are navigating to a particular place, it'll tell you how much fuel you've got left, how much time it will take you to get there, and where you're going to. And your optimal, so that's your current, and that's your optimal, and that'll tell you how long you're actually going to be in the air for. Okay. Or what you can be out there for. So that's that. You have your FCS, which is your control systems, so you can check all your different control systems there. UFC, this is another way to do your comms if you don't want to do it the other way, which I will show you how to do it the other way in a minute. So you can enter your comms in here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and enter it in there. And hit enter, and it will go down to the main comm, which is down the bottom. Okay, or 000, enter, 98, bar, enter. So I'll just show you if there's an error up there. So 1358550, I think is I didn't get the error 1. Oh well, whatever's. And it will tell you if the error is wrong. COM 1, COM 2. Over here is the ADI, which is another heads-up display. And you also have the HSI, which is this little thing down here. This one here is a little bit more fleshed out than this one. It's got like the map system and all that other stuff. Pretty cool. And you have a GPS, your GPS location of the jet right now. Sats, so if you've got satellites above you, if it's good, excellent, or bad. Alright, so in the sky it should be excellent. So yeah. The little thing down here is your clock. It should match the one up here when you're flying, if there is a clock up there. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And that's your HUD, like I was saying before. So apart from that, we are pretty much, yeah, good to go. Also on this one, you have a bit. So your bit failures, which we can do, that's a more advanced, more startup. I just did a really basic startup, so when we do the advanced startup, it will be there. But you can hit auto and you can go through the in test to make sure everything is a go. If something doesn't say or failed or whatever, then you'll have to rectify the failure from there. So yeah, it's just let it run through. Do that while you're doing other things. So that does take a little while. Over here is your fuel RPM and your NO7 thing. You can check your bingo fuel. So if you want to put your bingo fuel, I have mine set on 3, which is roughly about 30 minutes. So you can set your bingo fuel. Some people set it on 6, depending on how far away I'm flying away, but 3 is more than enough for me. You check your mode. You can have different modes if you wish. Or you can have it on there so you can see what the fuel line is. You can also set the brightness if it's too bright for you. Okay. Awesome. This middle panel is your radio. So it'll have channels, so your radio 1, radio 2, your ILS or beacon is in there, your channel for that. I have it set up for this aircraft already. You can do that through the manager, TACPack manager. We'll have a tutorial on that at a later time. It's really good to set up the TACPack manager, really brilliant. And that way you can load the aircraft with the chosen frequencies. I have it loaded with off, otherwise you'll hear an annoying sound when it's turned on. I also have the TAC can set up, turn it on, but if I turn that on, it does the exact same as that there. More for using it on jets, but I have it set on Y. You have a look at it. TAC can is on, TAC can is off. Okay. I have it turned on just to receive, otherwise you can just turn it off completely. I have this set up for your squat code, so your ident code. I have it set up for 1200 for via VFR flight, and I have it turned off because that's what most aircraft have it turned off. So when you go flying, you turn it on. When you get given a squat code to ident to the controllers, you put it in. You click on that, and they give you something like that, and you put it into there. So maybe squat code 524, whatever it is, put it in to there. Okay, if they swap it, so yeah, more of that. And so you can turn that on when you go to take off. Autopilot is a little easy. It's quite easy to use. So B altitude. So when you're flying along, you want to hold an altitude. You got that. R altitude. So B is holding altitude. R altitude. Can't remember what it is. We'll have to have a look at it. Heading. So holding the heading. Your roll. Now, if you want to put the aircraft into a roll and just fly in a circle, you can hit that, and the aircraft will hold the roll. And hold the altitude as well. Very easy to use. You can also change the heading like that as well. So that's your autopilot all there. R out. So this is your radar. So I'm guessing that's what that is. So if you want to do your R altitude, so your barrow and R altitude for landing on a runway, so your minimums, your radar minimums for landing ILS, you put them in there. You can turn those on too, and it'll show up in the HUD. So that's a basic quick tutorial on those. Very easy to use once you know how to do it. Very, very easy. And you can also have another one of these. So you can have a radar in front of you if you want, say, stores there. And if you want your other thing there, you can have that as your radar completely, and you can just use that, I guess, to look around the HUD and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually turned off at the moment, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. I like it. You can also have that there and use the radar on something else. What else could you have? HUD. Systems, you can put your systems in there. You don't necessarily have to have your radio there. That's okay. So that's basically it. You can also do the bit test up here to make sure that's a go. It's also a no-go. We can go check out our bit system here, and we got go on all the systems, which is pretty much good. Now we don't have the FLIR or anything here. So this is your, when you go out to attack, your FLIR is your little radar, your camera that you'll have on the jet, but we don't have one yet, but I can go and turn it on. Radar operation, you don't really need that on the ground, so DGO can't use it because yeah, but then yeah, as you can see it has changed. So we can go to radar now, and radar's turned on. Not doing anything because it's on the ground. But if we're in the air, it'll work. So you can have all of that. So that will be a tutorial on its own, learning how to use the sea and air radar. So at the moment we're on ground radar, GTM radar, sea radar if you're on the ocean, and TA is if you're on the, like, really low to the ground. You got terrain radar there, so you could like do terrain mapping really easy to fly at low speed, low altitudes, and then map radar there. This little radar is for if a missile fires at you, you can see it, and you've also got the same sort of one there as well, exact same. So yeah, that's those. So if we go to really quickly, we load up the FLIR, apply. We can go and turn on the FLIR. Give that time to like load up, and once it's loaded, it will come up on this little icon up here if it's ready to go. It does take a little while to heat up, not too long. So by the time you get out, like if you're definitely going out to doing a dropping bomb, leave it on standby, so by the time you're up in the air it's ready to go. Or you can have that as part of your takeoff checklist if you remember it. So if you remember to turn that on, it's good. And then you'll have like a little TV screen. So we'll turn the FLIR on, okay, so you can see it now. We'll click that and we can have a look around outside. You don't have to have it, you probably shouldn't have it on the ground, but you can have it while you're on the ground. So that's a very basic showing you of the FLIR. You'll also have grey, so you can check to see your see if it's working. I prefer to have the levels down a little bit. Have that about 6, maybe 2. You can change it to your heart's content, or you can have it on AG, which is, if you have it on ALG, it does it automatically for you, whether you're in dark or daylight, and it will change the color in relation to what you're doing. So you can have that on at all times if you want. Or you can have black, really good at night time, white, good during the day. Turn your visuals off if you wish. That's to reset it basically, or you can turn it back on. Yeah. We also have, you can get rid of it altogether, and you can just have a TV there if you wish, so you can see a lot better. That indicator is the aircraft, so the indication of the aircraft to where the radar is, because the radar is going to stay, or where the camera sits, it's not going to track with the aircraft. It'll just stay in that location, and whatever goes past it goes past it. Okay, you can turn TV on to white if you wish, very bright, more for nighttime, or just leave it on TV for night for daytime. You also have, if you want to get rid of the reticle completely, and visual, reticle, I don't think you can get rid of the other thing. So yeah, if you want to have a look around without the reticle there, the targeting thing, you can do that. And so narrow, so you can have narrow zoom, so it's looking really closely at a particular thing. In a wide zoom, very far away. Medium zoom. You can also zoom in on, so if I go narrow here, it'll zoom right into it, and we can zoom right up to the target of choice, and say hello to the people over there, and they don't even know we're looking at them. So back to wide view. The zoom only goes to 2.0, but if you use those, you can zoom in further. So default, it should be sitting on 1. Focus means nothing in FSX, but obviously focus, what are you? You're focusing a camera basically, so you can focus the camera. So that's that. So this little icon that you see here, you can actually change that if you have your master mode turned on. So if you want to keybind it instead, you can swap it. So using control arrow left, control arrow right, so left, the little icon goes to the left side, control arrow right, it goes to the right side. So what we'll do is we'll put that black so you can see, left, right, whatever. You can also go up, I believe. We can have it up in here, and there we go. We can move our little targeting icon around there. So we go there, it goes down there, go right, goes there. We can also turn on our HUD. So now I have if you have track IR, you can use that to target something behind you, in front of you, left and right, or below you, or above you. Very good if you have track IR or VR. I cannot wait to get it. I will be using this a hell of a lot in the future. We have nose wheel steering on high, so I'm just going to turn that completely off. So yeah, love it. I turn it on when I do my bombing because I do tend to use it sometimes. A lot better with track IR. When you come back over here, it just disappears because you've got their HUD there. So yeah, have a fiddle with those, and you can change the perceptions of it. There's a whole bunch of key bindings through the A-18E Superbug config file. Have a look at those, and you can learn how to use it. So that was Control Shift H, Control Shift H, and Shift H is on and off. You can do the brightness for it. Okay, so that's that. So this system down here, I'll zoom in on it, is basically a map radar. You can't change anything up the top. You can have sensors. You can put the time in the UFC up the top here. So there's the time now, Zulu time. You can turn that off. And have it on auto to find waypoints and stuff when you have waypoints set in. I have no waypoints turned on at the moment. ILS if you have an ILS approach in warning. TAC can if you have a TAC can in warning. You can change it to target if you have a target locked on, and your sequences and all that sort of stuff. So you can have your own setup. I'll have it turned on auto or whatever. Mode, you can have it set on map mode. So this is chart. That's ground, so terrain. Really good, like it. I really do like that. And then nothing. Chart is really good for doing bombing. So out this way, I believe, is the bombing range from memory. I think so. Yep, south. Yep, bombing range is out that way, so a little far off. But that's okay. And then you can change it to look more like a Boeing 737 if you wish to do it like that. I prefer in the F-18 to have it like that, so if there's anything behind me, I can see it instead of having to turn around and see it. So I have it set on that one. You can also set the scale to what you wish as well, right up to 160. Default when you come in, I think it's set at 40. Sometimes I have it set on 80 to see where it is. So yeah, about 80 nautical miles away. It's just within the range. So yeah, that's that. So back to HSI. So that was mode. You can go position. So your INS position, your GPS coordinates, or your TACAN coordinates. So if you're using TACAN, you use your TACAN coordinates. I use sometimes GPS position there. You can have all different types. You can have it on normal. I leave it on normal. And data. Okay, so your GPS data, you can find different. So if there's different airports there, so we can let's go down one, and we can check out what it is. Waypoint 0, we can take it to waypoint 1. We can take it to obviously we can't do number 2 until we have done number 3. So yeah, that's those there. So if you wanted to put in a waypoint, so we're at waypoint 0, we can exfilter it. So let's say on waypoint 0, so we can go waypoint 1, and we can exfilter that one. Exfilter. So we've got waypoint 1 and waypoint 2, or waypoint 0 where we are, and waypoint 2. We can have a look at the wing link. I'm gonna have to learn that stuff. Sorry, but you can go in there and have a look at that as well. AC waypoints. You can check out the waypoints from a different angle. How long it takes you to get there, all that sort of stuff. GPS. You can change auto waypoints, and other ones there's more TACAN frequency, not up. So we don't have any frequencies on that. but we can if we change the attack cam back to X. If we change the attack cam to X, then it will give us a frequency of RAF base Tyndall, because we are at RAF base Tyndall, so I'll leave that Y. So if we go back to HSI, we have our waypoints set up. So you have waypoint 0 where we are. So if I zoom in, so waypoint 0, and you will see waypoint 1 over there, about 35 nautical miles away. You can set waypoints up that way manually, or you can have it automatically set up through doing a flight plan or something like that. But yeah, if you want to set up a waypoint, you just do it that way. Pretty easy. Just to do that again, go data, GPS. If there's anything there, you can set up waypoints to go around. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. There's probably other ways to make do waypoints. You can do VOR. If there's a lot of VORs around, you can do a VOR waypoint as well. Okay, NDB waypoints. So if you want to do intersection waypoints and airport waypoints. So if there's a lot of intersections out there, you can go out there and do waypoint after waypoint after waypoint. Okay. There'll be a lot of intersections out in other aircraft. The contrast, so you can have, that just does the lighting around like all the other things. So, you know, the contrast turned all the way up. So, yeah, so that's that part of the aircraft done. So basically the next tutorial will be putting all of this in play in the sky. So once we get in the sky, then we can do all of that. And yeah, those tutorials probably won't come for a little while. I've actually got to go and do something and go and get all these other ones uploaded. So by the time you are listening to this, thank you very much. And yeah, well, have a good day, guys. Thank you.